Imagine you're in the middle of an important phone call. Maybe it's with a colleague, a friend, or even with a customer service representative. Suddenly, a question pops up in your head. Is it legal to record this conversation? Today, we are diving into the intriguing world of call recording laws in India. To answer this question, we'll explore the legal landscape, examine key cases, and understand what you can and what you cannot do when it comes to recording calls. Before we get into the details, let's outline what we will discuss. First, the current legal framework. What does the law in India say about call recording? 2. Notable case laws. Key judicial pronouncements on the subject. 3. Consent requirement. The importance of consent in recording calls. 4. Admissibility in court. Can recorded calls be used as evidence? 5. Recent updates. Any recent changes or updates in the law. 6. International comparison. How does India's law compare with other countries? In India, the legal landscape around call recording is quite complex. Unlike some other countries where there is a clear statute governing the recording of calls, India does not have a specific law addressing this issue. Instead, the legality of recording calls is derived from various provisions in different laws. The Information Technology Act of 2000, also called as IT Act, is a significant piece of legislation when it comes to electronic records. Section 69 of the IT Act empowers the government to intercept and monitor any information transmitted through any computer resource. This includes phone calls. However, this power is subject to certain conditions, such as the necessity for public emergency or for public safety. Section 5 of the Indian Telegraph Act of 1885 also provides the government with the power to intercept calls under specific circumstances. These include instances where it is necessary for the sovereignty and the integrity of India, security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, or preventing commission of an offence. Judicial pronouncements have played a critical role in shaping the understanding of call recording laws in India. Let's look at some key cases. The first case is People's Union for Civil Liberties, PUCL versus Union of India. In this landmark case, the Supreme Court laid down guidelines for lawful interception of telephone calls. The court emphasized that telephone tapping is a serious invasion of an individual's privacy and should only be done under strict conditions. The second case law is Tukram S. Digol versus Manik Rao Shivaji Court. In this case, the Supreme Court held that the authenticity and admissibility of recorded conversations depend on circumstances of each case. The court highlighted the importance of proving that the recording has not been tampered with. One of the key aspects of recording calls is the concept of consent. In India, the law generally requires the consent of at least one party involved in the conversation. This means that if you are a participant in the call, you can legally record it without the other informing the other person. However, secret recording a call between two parties without the knowledge is illegal. While India follows the one-party rule, it's interesting to compare it with laws in other countries. For example, in the United States, some states require the consent of all parties involved in the conversation. This is known as two-party consent. Understanding the differences can provide a broader perspective on the importance of consent in call recording. So, can a recorded call be used as evidence in court? The answer is yes, but with conditions. The Indian Evidence Act of 1872 governs the admissibility of evidence in Indian courts. For a recorded call to be admissible, first is authenticity. The recording must be genuine and not tampered with. 2 is relevance. The consent of the recording must be relevant to the case. 3 is consent. The recording must comply with the consent requirements discussed earlier. As a case example, in the case of R.M. Malkani versus State of Maharashtra, the Supreme Court held that tape-recorded conversations are admissible as evidence, provided they are relevant and their accuracy is beyond doubt. The court also emphasized the need for such recordings to be free and from any tampering. The legal landscape is always evolving. Recently, there have been a push towards stricter data protection and privacy laws in India. The Personal Data Protection Bill 2019 aims to a robust framework for data protection, which could impact the legality of recording calls. While the bill is yet to be passed into law, it highlights the growing importance of privacy in India. It's helpful to see how India's laws compare with other countries. For instance, in the United States, as mentioned earlier, some states require two-party consent, while others follow one-party consent rule. 2 is United Kingdom. In the UK, recording calls is generally allowed for personal use. However, sharing or using the recordings for business purpose requires the consent of all parties involved. 3 is Australia. Similar to the UK, Australia has different rules for personal and business use of recorded calls. Business-related recordings require clear consent from all participants. To wrap up, let's summarize what we have discussed. First, current legal framework. No specific law, but governed by the IT Act and Telegraph Act. 2. Notable case laws. PUCL versus Union of India, Tukaram S. Digod versus Manik Rao Shivaji Kokot. 3 is consent requirements. One-party consent is generally required in India. 4 is admissibility in court. Recordings must be authentic, relevant and compliant with consent rules. 5. Recent updates. The proposed Personal Data Protection Bill may impact call recording laws. 6. International comparison. Different countries have varying laws on call recording. Recording calls in India is nuanced topic with various legal considerations, whether for personal use or as evidence in court. Understanding the legal framework and staying updated with recent developments is crucial. Always remember the importance of consent and the conditions under which recordings are admissible in court. Stay informed, stay legal and respect privacy. Please do subscribe to my channel and see you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.